Hi, my name is Rosalynn, and I'm a New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film, and I'm also a proud FENIX Global Artist Ambassador. Today, I am thrilled to be speaking with Christopher Clinton Conway, a globally engaged nonprofit leader serving iconic nonprofit institutions and high net worth individuals in pursuit of meaningful impact and lasting change. Christopher Clinton Conway is a trailblazer, and here is my interview with him. Well, hello, Christopher. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Will?
I'm good. It is so nice to meet you. And you have accomplished so much, but not only have you accomplished so much, you have done so much good in this world. I will get into as much as I can as possible, but where I want to begin is, where did you grow up?
I grew up in the Midwest in Northern Illinois, just west of Chicago. I enjoyed my time there, but it's a great place to be from. And so I don't get back much anymore.
Did you have a passion for community service and giving back, even as a young kid?
I did. I come from a really observant Presbyterian family. So a lot of members of the clergy in my family, in addition to congregation members. And so service is a big part of the Presbyterian Church. And so we were always involved in community and mission activities. And that really led me, I think, to philanthropy, which is a pretty natural extension of that.
Oh, I would say so, absolutely. You know, getting back to your family and what I got to read about you, one of the many things that I could actually connect with you on actually involves our close relationship with our grandmothers.
Oh, yeah.
My dad's mom was my best friend. And when we lost her, I kind of made it my mission statement as a performer, but then later as a director. My secret, but I'm not revealing it, is I always try to put out art that that I know that she would be proud of in the front row.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know a little bit about your special relationship with your grandmother, and then how that has affected your work.
Yeah, I had been working in Los Angeles for a number of years, and my grandmother was in her 90s and was moving into an apartment from her home. And so that's when I decided to go work for the Joffrey. And so I moved back to Chicago to be close to her. She lived on the North Shore. And so for the nearly 10 years I was at the Joffrey, it was really about I love the Joffrey and the ballet. It was number one, being about closer to my grandmother. And that was really how I kind of calibrated the end of my career at the Joffrey, because when my grandmother passed away at 94, that's when I chose to move back to Los Angeles. So I'm the oldest grandchild, and I think grandchildren have a real special relationship. You don't have all the baggage and history, right, that children have. I'm an estate planning attorney by training. And so, I was the trustee and financial advisor to my grandmother. So we had a personal, but then also a business relationship in many ways. I think she was an extraordinarily smart individual and accomplished, had a master's and, did wonderful things living all over the world. And so she was very accepting of me and I wouldn't say my choices, right? Being a gay man wasn't a choice, but certainly she made it very clear that she was supportive of me and my, eventual husband and the life that we built together. So it was a great thing.
That's amazing. Well, I know that Catherine Wiley Hamilton is looking down on you and is so proud, because you have built a beautiful business, but not only obviously as a nonprofit leader, but someone who does give back. I read about your work with breast cancer. Also, another thing that is very personal to me, as my mom is a breast cancer survivor.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she is. Could you talk a little bit about your association with, I believe it's the Dr. Susan Love?
Right, yeah.
Foundation?
So I don't know if you mentioned in the intro, but I'm speaking to you from Dublin, and my family is Irish, and there is a genetic predisposition in some people from southwestern Ireland for the BRCA gene that also appears in Ashkenazi Jews and some people of native Mexico. And so because of the BRCA gene, 4 of my grandmother's sisters all died of breast cancer. And I knew them well, growing up and having to see them decline, the limitations in what therapies there were for people who had not just breast cancer, but genetic BRCA related breast cancer. And so when Susan Love approached me, and Susan is sort of the most famous breast cancer surgeon in the world. She literally wrote the book. She wrote the Susan Love Breast Book, which is the first book for breast cancer patients and survivors and caregivers. She's also Irish American and has a real keen interest in researching that community. And so I agreed after some back and forth, her asking me to do it, me being too busy, and finally agreeing that I wanted to help. And so I've been running her foundation amongst my other activities. Yeah.
It's amazing. That's incredible. And, not only do you work with such wonderful organizations such as the Dr. Susan Love Foundation, but you've worked with some pretty iconic people, 2 of which I'd love to dive into. I would love to know how you began your association with former President Jimmy Carter and his wife, First Lady Rosalynn Carter, and how that began as, did it first come as a friendship, then into more of building out, a vision that you had or they had in terms of legacy? I'd love to I'm just so intrigued about the backstory.
Yeah, fundraising has become much more, and philanthropy generally has become a much bigger industry in the past 20 years. But I'm old enough that when I started, it was more nascent, and so I started I was the first person ever to call the Art Institute in Chicago and say, I want to work in your fundraising department as a volunteer. And so I started there at the Art Institute, and I kind of shaped my career by really pursuing opportunities at institutions that I felt were kind of best in class. And so what President and Mrs. Carter were doing post-presidentially for me was just that, right? And so I contacted them without a whole lot of connection. I mean, I love my family, but they were very much Reagan Republicans in the 80s. And so they were not flying Jimmy Carter flags in their yards, I can tell you that. So when I said, I'm going to work for Jimmy Carter, they were like, oh, Jesus, but people have seen that while he struggled in the White House, he certainly has made incredible impact as a world leader and a senior statesman, and he is, and I've said this lots of times, and you may have even read it in things you found out about me, but we all meet people, famous people throughout our careers, right? And you're always, in my experience, disappointed to some degree. So maybe they're shorter than you think, or they're louder than you think, or they're not as friendly as you think. Jimmy Carter is exactly who he presents to be. You know what I mean? You think, oh, he can't really be that way. No, he is 100% that way. So he is completely authentic. He is in it for all the right reasons. He takes the sort of servant leadership model to heart, and is just a genuinely good person, maybe the best person I've ever met in my life. Because I'm certainly not completely selfless, and Catherine Wiley Hamilton wasn't either. But Jimmy Carter really is, he was born to help, and the world is a better place because of it. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. And I also love the fact that, in probably your friendship with both the Carters, you've been able to, or at least I can observe, maybe realize within yourself that you two were kind of born with this notion naturally to give back, even when there weren't cameras flashing or articles written about. I mean, obviously there is a lot about you and the philanthropic work that you do, but it's nothing that you're tooting your own horn about, Christopher. This is something that you either have or you don't. I mean, obviously you work with high wealth individuals and we all have to make a living. But
Yeah,
when I think about the legacy that you've helped set up for the Carters, I've been thinking a lot about legacy during this time. And when I think
yeah,
about you and this beautiful amount of work and joy and love and hope that you've put out there through the philanthropic organizations you associate yourself with, through your articles, through your publications, through your podcasts, I'm curious to know if that began as a kid. Was that something that you had to kind of realize as you went through life, that this was more of your North Star than just making money?
yeah. My mother said to me, God love her, and she's one of my, closest and strongest supporters. But she said to me years ago, she said, "Why can't you just make money and give it away?" And I said, "Well, I do some of that too, but I am, I'm so passionate about a number of causes, not everything, and the older I get, the more money I give away for high net worth individuals, the more I am strategic and I wouldn't say cynical or skeptical, because I'm not either of those things. But I'm very careful in evaluating opportunities and processes for giving away money. Identifying efficiencies and best practices and all those kind of things. And so does it trace back to an early age? Sure, but I have, I've had sort of lifelong learning. You and I were talking about, education. I've sort of collected a number of degrees over the years because I enjoy education, but I also enjoy the training. And my background is, like I said, in not only estate planning, but specifically tax and complex tax situations. And that's important for people giving away money, especially because I do it on an international scale. So
Absolutely. Well, speaking of education, I think you need to educate me on fashion. My husband is sick of this black get up uniform. He calls it my Steve Jobs uniform. You have such amazing taste in fashion, as does my husband. Literally, for our wedding, it was the first and only time I wore color in almost a decade.
oh my goodness.
And if you look at our wedding photos, everything was color coordinated. That's all my husband.
Okay.
And you have such a great look about you. I mean, forget like all the philanthropic stuff. Let's get down to the stuff that's
Oh
freaking
yeah.
important. When did you build the Christopher Clinton Conway silhouette with the glasses and the jacket? Because I know, and don't lie, I know that this is something that is part of your brand. And I'm just curious, like, how that all came about. And I think you should open up your own freaking clothing line, eyewear.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I'm sure that Iris Apfel would, she would be my competition, right? Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of been going on forever because I actually have terrible eyesight, and so I've been wearing glasses and because I need them, and not to give you more than you want to know, but the problems I have with my eyesight can't be corrected with LASIK surgery, and so it's necessary that I wear glasses. And so I have, I don't know, 43 different pairs at this point, and I'm always buying them wherever I go, or on eBay, or traditional retailers. And it's a little bit of a, I mean, men don't get that many accessories, right? And especially now, we're not really wearing ties anymore post-COVID, and so yeah, so glasses are a great thing, and I like really expensive clothes, so that's awful too. But yeah, it's true.
It's not awful. Again, you're unapologetically authentic. Hello.
Yeah, there you go.
That's amazing. Now, listen, I want to know, in joining FENIX, I mean, obviously what I'm excited about in having, joined FENIX is that for me as a director, it's been really cool to already start to work with collaborators in the East. Like truly, I'm already doing the thing. And for you, I mean, obviously your reach and skill set is throughout many disciplines. What are you most excited about, about this social media platform and coming on board?
Well, yeah, because my personal brand is so important to me, and coming out of COVID, I've really made a personal and professional commitment to spend more time working outside the U.S. For a lot of reasons. And so, I'm as I said in Europe now, but I'll be heading to the Middle East soon, and then back to the U.S. So, having opportunities that are sort of transnational, right? That's an important thing for me.
Well, that is amazing, and I'm just so moved by all that you've been able to accomplish. Again, with both high wealth individuals, but again, it's also the philanthropic work that you do and continue to do, all the while showing and not telling through your unapologetic authenticity. And it's admirable. And I'm so grateful that I got the time today to speak with you. I wish I could speak with you longer, but I want to let our audience knowing that for more on Christopher Clinton Conway, you can read more about him right below this video. And please, everyone, check out his amazing website where you can take a deep dive into his publications, his podcasts, and beyond. Christopher, it is such a pleasure meeting you, and I look forward to the next time.
For sure. Take care.
In the digital age, artists and bands struggle to make a living. In fact, only a small number of artists can live off their craft. For the 98% of artists that don't have the luxury of being signed to a label, it's tough. But artists deserve to live off their art. Wherever you are around the world, appreciation of music does not change. FENIX brings bands and their fans together, whilst allowing bands to properly monetize their passion. The FENIX app will directly connect bands and fans with no need for middlemen. We're utilizing the blockchain to give the power back to the artist once and for all. Join FENIX, join the change.